Good morning, America. Welcome to the Asian All-American podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine Kong, with my co-host, Jay Cool. And today we have Cambodia's heroine with us. We are beyond proud and honored to have her. She has sacrificed and hustled to get to where she is today. She puts the plus in A, has 2 bachelor's degrees in health sciences and nursing, and graduated this year from nursing school at California State University, East Bay. She is a first-generation Cambodian American and All-California Collegiate Athletic Association honorable mention during her 4 years at CSU, East Bay. You're an inspiration for all Asian Americans, but moreover, a shining example of courage and fortitude to maximize one's full potential. We are humbled and truly grateful to have Sidtikun as our guest today. Welcome. What's up and how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's an honor to be here and to be able to speak with you guys.
Mm-hmm. So before we dive into your life, we heard that your younger sister committed to the University of Arizona on a soccer scholarship. How amazing is that, and how do you feel for her as an older sister?
I'm super excited for her. I just know that, like, with me, how much my career and what going to college meant to me, I'm just so excited for her to have that same experience. And especially she's going to a D1 school, so that's like a huge, bigger step for her. And I mean, with like what we do and what you guys bring awareness to, I feel like, you don't see a lot of Cambodians within that light or in those spaces. So like, I'm just excited that she has the opportunity to be in that space and to take room in that athletic kind of arena.
Right. So where did you grow up?
So I live in the Central Valley of Northern California. I was born in Modesto. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been there for tournaments.
I had a couple of ex-girlfriends I had to drive up to me. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. So I was born here, but I lived in Ceres, which is kind of like a smaller town, growing up through 5th grade, and then I moved to Ripon, which is an even smaller town.
So, are there any Cambodians out there?
Girl.
No, there's like no Cambodians there at all. Like I think there was one in my high school. Like my entire high school, there was one, and it was a lot of Caucasian folks.
Do you have any other siblings? Other than your younger sister? My bad.
Yeah, I have a younger brother. He's 21. And then we have a little one after my sister that's going to soccer. She's 10 years old. So I'm the oldest.
Oh, great. Wow. So what comes with being the oldest, and like what is your perspective on your role in your family? Because I'm the oldest as well. So yeah. I kind of know.
I personally enjoy being the oldest, but I don't know if it's because like I naturally have like those motherly instincts or those like nurturing characteristics. But I feel like a lot to an Asian culture, the responsibility is on the oldest sibling. Like, if it's something to do with our parents or something needs to be done or something needs to be taught to our younger siblings, it's like our moms and dads kind of are like, hey, you can do it too. Or, you're the older sister, they need to respect you and you can, instill these things. Or so kind of a bigger responsibility, but I kind of enjoy it. And you're kind of the guinea pig for like a lot of things. Like, your parents don't know.
Yes.
They didn't do it.
I was going to say something
about
Yeah. So they kind of like, okay, you know what, we'll try with you. And if it didn't work out with you, then we'll know what to do with the next sibling.
Right.
That's kind of how
they did it.
Yeah.
Was there any struggles at like any point of, any struggles of being the oldest sibling?
I don't know. I think I was super blessed with like parents who are understanding, and because of what they went through, they didn't want to do it with me kind of thing. So they were like a little more lenient, I guess, with like me being able to do like certain things. And they didn't want to take that responsibility and put it on me, even though I feel like it is my responsibility. I feel like my parents were very like, you need to like have a life type of thing. And I don't feel like my parents were like super strict in that way because they were raised that way. So they kind of like wanted it a little bit different for me.
Being first generation, education is like, that's the high priority. There had to be a turning point or a significant point in your life that propelled you to pursue, higher goals in academic, like multiple degrees.
I don't know if there's like, I feel like for me, it's just being thankful for the opportunity to be able to be in a position to pursue those things. Like our grandparents and stuff, they've done so much to get us here. So it's like, if I don't take advantage of the things that like they weren't able to do, then I feel like I'm doing a disservice.
Right.
Right. So, keep going. Yeah.
So like, I feel like just realizing that too. And then like just throughout school, like, I guess it's stress too, kind of in our culture too, to like do well in school. But for me, it was kind of, that was more of a reason of why I was doing well, not just to do it because like you have to, but that was kind of my back reason of like, dude, not everybody gets this opportunity to do what, you get to do. So it was like kind of my motivation. And then also like my parents, like they inspire me to do, what I can do.
That's amazing. And what was it specifically that your grandparents went through? So
with the so Jasmine, you're Cambodian culture, but are you, Justin?
No, he's Filipino. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I'm Filipino.
Oh, okay. So
it's all good.
He looks Cambodian.
Just like with the Khmer Rouge, what happened with the genocide there, and my grandma, she came here like right after it. So it was between 1975 and around 1980. They came around 1980. So they went through it. And my grandma has like a lot of stories of her surviving and just being in those positions of like life or death.
Yeah.
So it's like,
can you give us one story?
Yeah, those stories of like how she pretty much survived. And then also like my mom and dad, how they met and how they come back from different like backgrounds too, and how they came over here to start a life. It's kind of what pushed me forward. I guess. Yeah.
So I mean, there are different paths in life. What is your view on higher education?
I feel like you don't necessarily need higher education to do the things that you want to do or to like deem that you're successful. Like that's not for everybody. And I don't think that attaining a higher education will make you any more successful than the next if they don't. And I feel too that some degrees, like, not to take away any meaning of somebody who does achieve like certain degrees or like, but I feel like you don't get to do as much with that degree that I feel like you should be able to.
Right.
That's a good point.
You'll get a degree in something, but then it's like, okay, what job can I get with it?
Yeah.
Versus somebody who's had experience within that field, they don't even have a degree. They might be able to like attain a better job because they have experience within that field.
Just the extra credentials,
Yeah.
Cambodian Americans are ranked low on high school graduation.
Oh, man.
Rating among
I've actually looked at the statistics for that. I think that's important. But that's a different issue. Like, I don't think it's like a higher education issue, or I think it's more of an issue where it's like there's deeper problems why these kids aren't being successful. Right. And it's not necessarily like, it's like, if you don't know better, how do you do better? And some of them, they just don't know, and they don't have the tools for them to excel. Like, these kids aren't finishing high school because there's other issues like language barriers, or going home, and your parents who are not from here, they don't know how to help. I feel like that's more of like a different issue versus like whether like they don't even have a choice to do better if they could, because they don't know better.
Right. Yeah.
So, I think because the parents as well is adjusting, and I don't think there's enough help.
Yes, I agree.
The parents, because look, I mean, the parents also has to try to find and navigate their way through a new life.
I definitely agree. I feel like we stress education, but we don't give them the tools to succeed.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
There needs to be more services for immigrant kids
Mm-hmm.
because they are adjusting.
Parents and kids, because the parents, they gotta either go to school again if they want to get a higher pay.
I definitely agree. Like, there has to be for both, because a lot of people don't even know the services that are offered or how to obtain them or to even get, from A to B.
I just want to put this out there, but I feel like that the older generation of my people need mental health services, and that it should be accessible to them. And if they have that, they're able to support their kids. But I feel like the problem of them not getting mental help is because they don't want to seem crazy or have it in themselves. I think a lot of Cambodians are or just Asian Americans in general are in denial and don't want to have that in them. It's kind of like, it seems as embarrassing as if they are or if they were to get mental help.
Hey, look, Cambodia, I mean, if you come from a war-torn country,
yes,
PTSD all day, man. Come on, man, I have PTSD over a breakup. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like, too, culturally, though, like, I would say for across Asians, we aren't ones to express our emotions. So within the older generations, like, they won't even talk about it, or they won't even say, like, because it's just so, like, you keep everything to yourself, or, you don't show that you're weak, or so it's like, even then, like, even if there's an issue, I feel like within our, like, own families, we have to, like, bring it out and about, because, like, they won't either, So just realizing.
So, sometimes I struggle with self-confidence and insecurities. Do you have those issues? And if so, did you ever find yourself comparing your life to others in a negative or positive way?
So I feel like everybody has their own insecurities, but I think it's, like, up to the person to, like, how it affects you, how you choose to let it affect you. And for me, I feel like for the most part, I've always been a pretty confident person because I don't give a fuck. Like,
I know. I see.
Like, I just don't care. Like, and not in a way of where, like, I don't care about you, or I don't care about what you say, or, like, not in that way where I'm, like, disregarding, but I feel like everything I do is on me, type of thing. It's a reflection of me, not anybody else. And I'm not going to compare myself to anybody else because my experiences in my life is different.
Right.
So
That's good.
I don't know. I just feel like
even the younger you. So you've always had that self-confidence?
The younger me, I think I was like, maybe I didn't realize it at the time too. Maybe subconsciously was, but I feel like I was just like, I don't know. I feel like I was just being a kid. Like, back then, I don't know, like, it was either soccer, sports, or hanging out with my friends, or, like, doing things. And I don't feel like nowadays it's just more in social media. Like, you see it all around you, like, other people's lives. Like, I feel like back then it wasn't even like that. Like, like, all I remember is, like, playing with my cousins and, like, doing those types of things. Like, I didn't care.
Me too.
I didn't care what was, like, going on in the rest of the world. Like, I think I was naive too. So
right. So when you did, start to realize it, what were the things that did help you get over your insecurities and make you more confident? Like, was it sports?
Yeah. I think it's like positive self-talk for sure. And then like reading books, like self-help books.
Early, huh? I see you.
Yeah, like, and then
hey, we probably read the same books, girl.
The way we met, or the way we started talking, was because I posted a picture of the book First They Killed My Father. And then she came in my DMs and was all like, that's a great book, and everything. And yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. So, why is it important to tell and share your Cambodian American experience?
I think, especially as minority, a lot of people don't really know our background and where we come from and like what has happened.
Right.
So being able to share like what's gone on with us can either help somebody understand a little bit more of why maybe people of our background do things a certain way, or just kind of understanding us like culturally. And sharing like even success stories can be inspiring to other people, like other Cambodians who don't think that, oh, they'll never make it out of wherever they come from, or but just having those stories and sharing or bringing it to light in a certain way, people can see those things and be like, okay, this is possible too. Like, I can do this too, because somebody that looks like me and somebody who came from the same background did it.
Right.
So I feel like that's why it is important.
Absolutely.
And because I feel like within like Cambodian too, like we're not a big country. So if our history isn't like preserved, it's going to be gone.
Right.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. We know that you're active on social media, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, which has gained traction. What is your take on it?
Which part?
All of it.
All of it.
Pick a part.
I think it's very important, like what is happening right now in the world today. And I think that in a lot of ways we have progressed because of what has happened, but in the same breath, like we haven't either, because it's 2020 and we're still doing things that I feel like we shouldn't have to be doing in 2020. But I'm also happy that these things are more in the spotlight now. And people are recognizing the racial injustices and the systemic injustices that are in place in our country. So I think it is important that people are talking about it and speaking up about it, and that we as people of color, amplify Black people's voices.
So you're feeling about the lack of participation from the, the Pan-Asian American community.
Yeah, well, I agree. I feel like we don't do enough. And I feel like we are so used to, I guess, like coming here, following the rules. I guess they would put us in that category, right? Of the immigrant myth. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, about how,
it's a big thing. Yeah, we know.
The model minority?
Yes, that thing. That's what it's called. And I feel like some Asians just don't think it applies to them. I just feel like as younger generations, it's important for us to have those conversations within our families and within our communities to hold each other accountable, to say like, hey, look, this is what's going on. Like, whether you want to either push it to a side, because I feel like we do that a lot. We hear it and we're like, well, it's not happening, so we just push it to the side. But it's like, I feel like as the younger generation, we can do more by saying, no, this is what's happening. This is, what you need to be aware of. And this is what we need to do, because we can't ask people to stand up for our Asian issues if we can't do the same for others. We need to be looking into those things about who is doing what for us. And that is so important. And having those conversations with your family too, because if you have family members above 18 within your family and you guys aren't discussing, like, okay, who do we want doing what for us? I think that's important.
All right. So this is a direct quote from you that I really love. So this is what you said. You said, I aspire to inspire, to walk intently in my purpose, to touch the lives of others in my different spheres of influences, to honor my ancestors in the way that I live, and to love everything and everyone genuinely, to give back to others in ways that I can, and to represent Cambodians truthfully and help lift others in their greatness. Now, I thought that was super beautiful. So with that being said, everyone will come to a crossroad in their life and they have to make a life-changing decision. What advice can you give to encourage the person to take that step forward?
Look at your pros and your cons. So if your pros outweigh your cons, then you know what the right decision is to do. And if you have, I think too, having like a very strong support system, the right people in your corner that can because sometimes people know you better than like, yourself in certain ways. Like, they kind of just remind you of like who you are and what you do. So I feel like having a strong support system and then you having good insight on yourself, that's why I think self-love is the most important thing, because you will grow insight on who you are as a person. So you can tap into yourself like, hey, does this reflect me and what I value or my characteristics? And then you make a decision like, okay, should I do this or should I not? Or is it the right thing to do because of what you value? Like, I feel like any person should know their morals, their values, what's important to them. If you love yourself, you're definitely like, what you love about yourself and you know who you are. Right.
Wow.
So you can still grow,
What that felt like? See, I've never had an older sibling because I've been the oldest sibling. Now that felt like that was towards me. That felt good. You're like my bong right now.
I think that's important for someone who doesn't have support. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody has a luxury to have a supportive family. Sometimes people believe in your dreams.
You gotta reach within. You can't reach out. But I also think understanding that like self-love isn't necessarily always what you see or just being confident. Like that's not what self-love is. I feel like it is, but that's not what it all like. I feel like people like to just correlate like, oh, she loves herself because she's confident. Like that necessarily isn't, what self-love is.
Deeper than that.
Yeah, it's deeper than that. Like I feel like it's just like loving every part of you and your flaws and your imperfections and like just knowing that you're being your genuine self.
That's smart.
And that will breed confidence.
Yeah.
That will help you with your confidence because like you're so sure of who you are and how you are as a person. Like you love yourself enough to not care because you are who you are.
Positive self-talk is important because you got to train your brain is like a muscle. You got to train it. You got to tell yourself, hey, I can do this. I can do this.
Especially if you're an athlete.
And I feel like being an athlete has taught me that. And it has made me a stronger person, and you too, Sidtia.
Yeah.
Because we have trained to keep going and don't give up.
Overcoming all the time, like you. So I think that's what's so great about sports. You overcome little stuff every day. Every time your coach say you got to do extra, you're not doing it right.
Every time you got to do a spraying, you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
You are a prospective for the national team, for the Cambodian women's national team. She doesn't just play soccer. She plays basketball too. And your sister.
Yes, and I really want to do this so bad. Like Jasmine, one time, huh?
How much would it mean to you to wear Cambodia on your chest?
Dude, it would I was literally talking to my friend the other day because she hoops and she was like, hey, I saw what you posted, and I was like, yeah, I really want to play. It would mean everything to me to represent my country. And she was like, well, I have these other things that I'm doing where you can go play and get recruited and stuff. And I was like, no, the only way I'm gonna play is if I'm representing my country. I don't want to play for anything else. I don't want to play for anything else but my country. That's it.
Jazz, tell her who we are interviewing tomorrow.
So tomorrow we are going to interview the president of the United Cambodian Basketball Association. His name is Sakari Chow. And then the women's director of the national team, her name is Sima Suon. Yeah. So they know everything about everything and what's going on in Cambodia and how this team is going to get started. And so they're going to we're gonna talk briefly with them and go over what we're gonna do to move forward and start this team.
Make sure you guys tell them that I'm coming because I'm about to be in the gym.
Yes, yes, work hard. And I know your boyfriend's a basketball player too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're about to be
out together.
Yeah, we're about to be training, but so like right now I'm studying for my boards to get my license.
Yes, the national team is important and everything, but don't risk your career for this.
The job is always going to be there. This opportunity will not.
No, thank you.
What if this?
That's the mentality thing. So what are your dreams and aspirations? I heard that, are you working with Cambodia in terms of nursing and bringing it over there? Is that what you're doing too?
So, like nursing is kind of just a stepping stool for me. And as far as like what I want to do with my life, I feel like, one, I get to help people in vulnerable spaces of their lives. Like you're going to people who are sick and these are spaces where they don't share a lot with, who they are. So I get to be in that space for others. And then moving forward, like it'll be something that's also financially stable for me. But I want to do more with that as far as like doing more community stuff and then hopefully taking like a mission trip to Cambodia, like a medical mission trip. I want to do one of those. So I've kind of looked at some in Long Beach. There's like the CHPA or something. And then like, I don't know. I just want to go do stuff over there and then also represent, like if I were able to play basketball, I want to do that for sure. Cause I feel like I could totally do that and have like a balance of like, if I want to work, then I could work too.
Yeah.
So those are kind of like my goals right now, but I feel like they always change like all the time. So.
All right, Sidtia, thank you for your generosity.
Thank you guys.
Do you want to close this out, Sidtia?
Yeah, why don't you close this out real quick?
Thank you guys for watching. Are they watching or are they listening?
All right, y'all.
Both.